In my previous life, my best friend got pregnant before the college entrance examination, and she wanted to give birth to the baby. I tried my best to analyze the pros and cons with her, accompanied her to the operation, comforted her, and urged her to concentrate on preparing for the exam. In the end, she was not affected too much, was admitted to a university, and became a prestigious chemist after graduation. But later, she invited me to dinner, put poison in my wine glass, and watched me drink it. She was full of resentment and said, if you hadn't forced me to have an abortion, I would be the young lady of the wealthy Song family now. What's the point of doing well in the exam? I can never live a more noble life than marrying into the Song family. It turned out that she always felt it was me who blocked her wealth and glory. In the next life, when she told me innocently that she wanted to keep the child, I just smiled and didn't try to dissuade her. I want to see how noble she can live in this life. The burning pain spread from the throat to the lungs, and even breathing became extremely painful. I was like a fish out of water, gasping for air, trying to get a little more oxygen. My chest began to feel stuffy, my heart was beating like a drum, and the smell of bitter almonds spread in the air, symptoms of cyanide poisoning. I stared at Feng Qian, my best friend for many years, and said in disbelief, Why? Why did you poison me? Feng Qian and I have known each other since we were in high school, and it has been 15 years so far. We support and accompany each other, go through many important stages of life together, and know each other's deep joys and sorrows. We are best friends, and we are like family members. A quarter of an hour ago, we were sitting together for dinner and chatting about the interesting things that happened recently. She cooked a large table of dishes by herself and opened the red wine that she had collected for a long time. Why, Feng Qian laughed wildly as if I had asked something funny, with sinister, resentful eyes. Bo Shushi Songchen is married with a baby. If you hadn't forced me to have an abortion, I would have become the young lady of the Song family. It's you who ruined my life of wealth and glory, so that I poison made my consciousness blurry. But when she mentioned abortion, it impressed me so much that I almost immediately recalled it when we were 18 years old, before the college entrance examination. Feng Qian had an affair. At that time, she was panicking, and I made the decision for her. How could a high school student have a child? Once it got out, her studies and her future would be ruined, and the child must not be kept. I paid to accompany her to the hospital for the operation, took care of her throughout the whole process, and kept this secret for her for so many years. But now she hates me because of this matter, and even poisoned me to death. I was surrounded by a sense of absurdity. I wanted to curse, but I couldn't even utter a complete sentence. Blood gushed out of my nose, my whole body began to spasm, my feet arched, and I died. Shishi, I'm pregnant. A familiar voice sounded in my ears with a bit of panic, and I couldn't help but open my eyes wide. The person in front of me was still Feng Qian, still young and immature Feng Qian. What's going on? Am I reborn? Don't stare at me so fiercely. I was already very scared. You are my best friend, so I told you. Fang Qian's voice was filled with some fear and tears. She thought I was too shocked and angry about her pregnancy, but she didn't know that I wanted to strangle her to death right now. But no, my precious life that I finally got back again can't be wasted because of a scum like her. I tried my best to suppress the anger in my heart, pretending to be at a loss and distressed, and asked with concern, What's going on? Feng Qian started crying and telling me those things that I knew clearly in my previous life. Feng and I are both students of the No. One middle school in the city. The No. One middle school is the best key middle school in the city. The students admitted are the top students in the high school entrance examination, and Feng Haiyan is the best among them. She was born to be a good student, and because her family conditions were not good, she worked very hard and studied very hard. Feng Qian was once the teacher's favorite and my role model in learning. But everything changed when we entered the third year of high school because of a transfer student, Song Chen. Song Chen is a student of the International Department of No. One middle school. The International Department is different from our main high school department. They don't need to take the college entrance examination. They go abroad. All the students in it are rich or noble. Song Chen fell in love with this smart, beautiful, poor but tenacious girl at first sight. and then he pursued her in various ways. I told Fang Qian early on not to pay attention to him. Children of ordinary background like us are not qualified to have a wanton youth. At that time, Fang Qian nodded and said that she knew her limits. I thought she knew what was the right path, so I didn't remind her again. Who knew that he was so sensible that he was secretly in love with Song Chen without telling anyone? Every lunch when she didn't go to the cafeteria, she didn't eat bread in the classroom and do homework, but shared a romantic lunch with Song Chen in the Grove. Every time she said she forgot something in the classroom and had to go get it after returning to the dormitory, she was actually kissing Song Chen downstairs in the dormitory. Every weekend when she said she was memorizing the key points at home, she was actually hanging out with Song Chen in the hotel. What should I do, Shusi? He has a little life after all. Fang Qian wiped her ears and gently stroked her belly, and she began to radiate the maternal radiance. He was like this in his previous life. When I heard him say this, the first thing I did was to scold him for being confused and earnestly explain the obvious serious consequences to him one by one. It was not easy to make him sober up, and then I arranged to accompany him to the hospital for surgery. Fang Qian's family is worse off than mine. He has never had much pocket money, and I paid for his surgery. After the operation, he was depressed. I spared no effort to take care of him, comfort him, and urge him to study every day, and I kept this secret for him. I always believed that I did the right thing and pulled a friend who was almost going astray back to the right path. I never expected that after several years, when he woke up from his youth and ignorance, he would thank me for everything I did for him, but I never expected that he would hate me for it. Thinking of this, my breathing became more rapid. Why don't you say anything, Shishi? Fang Qian didn't feel something was wrong and asked for my opinion again. I calmed down. Qian Kaiyan, you are already 18 years old and an adult. As a friend, I unconditionally support all your decisions. I didn't deliberately say something to encourage him to keep the child, but I emphasized the four words your decision. When I died in my previous life, Fang Qian yelled at me hysterically, blaming me for every word as if he had always been a toy without any independent consciousness and had been manipulated by me. I understood that Fang Qian had no ability to reflect on herself and could only blame others. Keeping the child was an absolutely stupid decision. Fang Qian would definitely suffer a heavy blow because of this decision. If I encouraged her to keep the child, she would blame me again when she encountered misfortune in the future. I don't know if she would use some tricks to retaliate against me. There is only a thief who can do thieves for 1,000 days, but there is no one who can guard against thieves for 1,000 days. I cherish this rebirth. Without my clear advice, Fang Qian hesitated and began to mutter about the imperpetrations of keeping the child. If she was found out, her reputation would be ruined. Everyone would look down on her, her parents would beat her to death, and she would not be able to continue studying or go to college. You see, she didn't really know how serious the consequences were. She just wanted to pretend to be confused so that the person who gave her advice would be responsible for her misfortune at any time. To be honest, I was really afraid that he would wake up after mumbling unchoose to abort the child. I didn't want to see him turn back from his wrong path, otherwise my resentment would become a joke. I couldn't encourage him directly, but I had to make him make up his mind to keep the child. After thinking for a while, I asked him, does Song Chen know about this? Fang Qian shook her head. I haven't had time to tell Song Chen yet. He is the father of the child and has the right to know about this. I gave a sincere suggestion, pretending to be gossipy, and said casually, I heard that the Song family has only one son for several generations, and they cherish their offspring very much. It's a pity that you and Song Chen are still too young, otherwise you can get married directly. If you have a child from the Song family, you will definitely be spoiled to the sky. Fang Kaoyon's eyes lit up, and I curled my lips in my heart. It doesn't matter whether Song Chen should know about this. My purpose is just to say the following words naturally. I am guiding Fang Qian to magnify the evil thoughts in his heart, the evil thoughts he originally had. After a long time, Fang Qian finally made up her mind. She stroked her belly with a pure face. Shishi, I must keep him. He has a life. I can't be an executioner and cruelly deprive him of the right to come to this world. Even if it costs me a huge price, I will protect him. Fang Qian blushed as she spoke, and he is the fruit of my love with Song Chen. If being naive and love-brained can easily make people speechless, then using these two characters to pretend to be innocent and harmless is disgusting. Fang Qian's calculations that were not presentable were almost overflowing from her eyes. However, Feng Qian really had the word naive or stupid. He seemed to believe from the bottom of his heart that he would definitely marry into the Song family with a child in his belly. No, it was as if he was extremely convinced. Even Feng Qian, who had never left the ivory tower for many years in her previous life, had always blindly believed in this. Of course, the 18-year-old Feng Qian had no doubts. I'm going to find Song Chen. He couldn't wait to get up and leave. I didn't stop him. His confidence came entirely from Song Chen's infatuation with her. I wanted to see if a playboy who was just having fun could still pretend to be affectionate when he suddenly encountered something that he had to take responsibility for. Yes, Song Chia's affection for Feng Qian was fake. I learned about this incident by chance. In my previous life, when I ran errands for the teacher to pick up something from the International Department's teaching building, I heard Song Chen and his brothers chatting in the public lounge. Those boys praised Song Chen for being so good, saying that he easily got the top student in the main high school department in the Keese Edelings who were going to Tingshuan Peking University. Song Chen looked calm and said, "The taste of being a good student is just so, it's not interesting. The only advantage is that I'm a blank slate. It's a bit interesting to train her slowly." Some people said that it would be difficult to break up with such a girl, but he didn't care. When I go abroad, I will block her directly. Where can I find me? After I knew about this, I wanted to tell Feng Qian, but at that time he had just finished the operation and was very fragile physically and mentally. I was afraid that he would suffer a second blow, so I kept it a secret. After the college entrance examination, I told him about it. He didn't react much. I always thought he had figured it out. It wasn't until he died that I found out that Feng Qian told Song Chen about her pregnancy right after the college entrance examination. Song Chen used this as an excuse to scold Feng Qian for not loving him and not caring about their flesh and blood, and angrily proposed to break up. Feng Qian hated me from that time. Feng Qian didn't come back for a long time. I asked for a small leave from the teacher for him, saying that he was a little and would come to class later. The teacher didn't ask much. Feng Qian was still a good student in the eyes of the teacher at that time, so naturally he had some small privileges like this, but it would not be soon. I didn't wait for Feng Qian in the classroom. I was reviewing frantically. For me, the third year of high school was more than 10 years ago. I have almost returned everything I learned to the teacher. Although I was a graduate of a well-known 985 university in my previous life, if I don't study hard in this life, I may become a god in the exam and become the only student in this year of one middle school who was admitted to a junior college. Now it's not long since the second semester of the third year of high school started. I only have 3 months, and it's really nervous. When I opened the book I hadn't read for a long time, I couldn't help but immerse myself in it. I almost didn't notice Feng Qian coming back to class. Feng Qian's face was not good when she came back. She held it in for a long time. She didn't hold it in until she returned to the dormitory after the evening self-study. She found a corner and confided to me secretly. Song Qin asked me to beat the child. Her eyes were red, and she looked heartbroken. I think Song Chen's attitude when talking to him this time was not good. He thought that the nobleman who loved him deeply showed his vicious side to him for the first time. He was also thinking about me. After all, it's not good for us to have children at this age. Feng Qian was still trying to smooth things over for Song Chen. I rolled my eyes in my heart. If Song Chen was really a good person who cared about him, he would never coax him to bed before the college entrance examination. I perfunctorily comforted Feng Qian. He said that he was not wrong. You should calm down first. After this week, if you are sure you don't want this child, I will accompany you to the hospital. No way in this life. He can never think of covering up this matter without anyone knowing. How can he keep this child for a while? The next day, a shocking rumor broke out in the student forum of the International Department, saying that a girl in the main high school department was pregnant with a boy in the International Department. The girl came to her boyfriend crying at night to discuss what to do and was overheard by the passersby. The International Department's management model for students tends to be free. Students in the International Department can have mobile phones in school. This kind of gossip with a colored nature spreads the fastest. In less than a day, everyone in the school knew about it. The teachers in the main high school department were on high alert. If this kind of thing got out, it would be a major blow to the reputation of No. 1 middle school. The school quickly cleaned up the traces on the forum and then began to investigate who the protagonist of the incident was, questioning them one by one and adjusting the surveillance. Feng Kaiyan was panicked all day, and she regretted that she didn't be more careful when talking to Song Chen. Oh, it was useless to be careful because the unknown onlooker was me. The anonymous message on the forum was not sent by the students of the International Department, but by me. Fang Qian felt like she was living in a year, and she just wanted to wait until the weekend to have the surgery. She was optimistic. The school could not effectively identify the person, so they simply arranged a physical examination for all students in the school. Fang Qian had nowhere to hide, and her pregnancy was discovered by the school. The school was not soft-hearted and directly expelled him for violating school rules. Although the school did not directly state the specific reason for expelling Feng Qian for the sake of its overall reputation, no one was stupid. Feng Qian was expelled right after the explosive news came out. Everyone could guess that she was the girl who fell in love and got pregnant early. Because of this incident, in the extremely tight time of the third year of high school, each class also held a class meeting with the theme of how to get along with adolescent boys and girls. After Feng Qian was expelled, I heard a lot of things from others and from him. The school informed her parents of her pregnancy, and her hot-tempered father almost beat her half to death. He contacted Song Chen, hoping that Song Chen would take responsibility, but Song Chen ignored him. The school teacher had asked Feng Qian who the boy was before, but Feng Qian refused to tell him. He thought that this was a gesture of goodwill to Song Chen, and he didn't want to make Song Chen unhappy. After all, his biggest wish was to keep Song Chen for a long time. Stupid and pathetic, Song Chen's reaction obviously disappointed Feng Qian. He decided to break the jar and break the jar. Anyway, the pregnancy had been leaked, and his face and money had been lost. It was better to take a gamble and use the child to threaten Song Jia to let him in. He told his parents the identity of the child's biological father. Now his parents suddenly became excited and were no longer in a hurry to take him for surgery. They said that they would support their daughter to the end no matter what. Feng Qian's original family was not good. This kind of badness was not judged by economic wealth, but by the relationship and atmosphere between family members. His father is idle and his mother is patriarchal. If Feng Qian had not been an excellent student, they would not have even let him go to high school and would have sent him out to work early. So I really admired Feng Qian in the past. I felt that she was a flower struggling to grow out of the mud. I thought she knew what kind of path would allow her to continue to bloom. So in my last life, I was willing to do my best to pull her when she got lost. But the reality is that if a person is confused, even gods can't help him. Respecting the fate of others is really a real truth. Feng Qian's parents found the song group building unrolled around at the door, saying that the son of the song group bullied their daughter and was not responsible. The barefoot are not afraid of the shoes. Compared with the huge benefits that may be obtained, what is that face, and what is the reputation of a girl? This operation attracted many people to watch, including Song Jia's competitors, who took the initiative to contact some media to promote this matter for them. For a time, this matter became a hot topic in our local area. My opinion on this is that it's good. There is no reason for Song Chen, a scumbag, to stay out of it. It also allows the public to see what kind of virtue the so-called young master of a wealthy family is in private. It was impossible for the Song family to let such negative public opinion go. The Song family first sent someone to communicate with Feng Qian's parents, expressing their willingness to bear all the expenses of Feng Qian's surgery and to compensate an additional 2 million yuan for nutrition fees and mental damages. Feng Qian's parents were already satisfied, but Feng Qian disagreed. At this point, her only ultimate goal was to marry into the Song family. She asked her parents to continue to bite the Song family to death until the Song family was willing to let her in. Otherwise, she would directly sue Song Chen for rape and give birth to the child. After all, it was the Song family's child, and they had to pay child support, and it would also cause trouble for Song Chen's marriage in the future. After a period of stalemate, the Song family compromised. Song's father and mother went to Fang Qian's house on their own, using the pretext of proposing marriage. The 2 million yuan originally discussed was no longer compensation, but a betrothal gift. They said they admired Fang Qian's courage, and the elders in the family also thought that having many children and grandchildren was a blessing. The two children were already in love, so there was no need to say anything about bullying. The Song family was willing to have this daughter-in-law, and when Song Chen officially graduated from high school, they would hold an engagement party for them, and then get married directly when they reached the age. At this stage, Fang Qian was pregnant with the precious grandson of the Song family. The Fang family was not well off, so it would be best for Fang Qian to go to the Song family to take care of the pregnancy. After getting this result, Fang Qian was very proud to send me a message to share it. Of course, I congratulated her, but in fact, I really didn't know how Fang Qian could be so naive. She was so controlling of Song Jia. Did she really think that Song Jia would willingly accept her? In any case, Fang Qian still moved into the Song family, according to the suggestion of Song's father and mother. Maybe the other party's attitude seemed too good. Maybe the Arafale gift had already been deposited into her family account, or maybe Fang Qian herself had been looking forward to the life of a wealthy family for a long time. In short, Fang Qian couldn't wait to move into the Song family with her baby in her belly. After moving into the Song family, Fang Qian gradually became arrogant in front of housemates. Her circle of friends was full of the Song family's mansion, luxury cars, and jewelry and luxury goods given by Song's father and mother. The copy was full of words like "Mom and Dad love me so much, and the Song family really treats me as a daughter." On the eve of the college entrance examination in June, she even sneaked back to the campus, stroking her obviously bulging belly, and said to us, "I will soon be the young lady of the Song family. You must work hard to enter the university. If you can't find a job in the future, you can always find." When the old class teacher drove her out of the school gate with a broom with a gloomy face, she turned back and smiled proudly. But she didn't notice that the direction of public opinion had already quietly changed. At first, everyone was still discussing Song Chen bullied girls, which gradually became Fang Qian deliberately seduced the guide student, and finally some people said that she forced marriage with a child, and the memes were despicable. The Song family always maintained the attitude of tolerant in-laws. Song Chen occasionally posted photos of accompanying her for prenatal checkups on social platforms, with the caption "Looking forward to a little life," maintaining a loving persona. On the day the college entrance examination ended, I was cleaning up the examination room and suddenly heard that Fang Qian rolled down the stairs of the Song family and was sent to the hospital with heavy bleeding. When the news reached us, the child was gone and she was infertile for life due to uterine damage. The Song family claimed that the nanny accidentally knocked her down, but Fang Qian cried, and the warden said they deliberately hurt me. But no one believed it. After all, she had posted the mother-in-law's hand-cooked pregnancy soap on her circle of friends before. Fang Qian, who lost her child, no longer had any bargaining chips. Song Chen canceled the engagement on the grounds of emotional breakdown, and the Song family symbolically gave hundreds of thousands of nutrition fees and then cut off contact. Her parents used to spend money on betrothal gifts, but now they have no hope. Her father was in debt due to gambling, so he locked her up at home and forced her to marry a 40-year-old bachelor from a neighboring village to pay off the debt. In the evening of the end of August, I received a call from Fang Qian. Her voice was so hoarse that it was unbelievable. "Shishi, I want to see you." We met at a small restaurant near the high school. When she pushed the door open, she was wearing a faded old t-shirt. Her hair was messily tied behind her head. Her stomach was flat, and her whole body seemed to have been drained of energy. "Do you think I'm ridiculous?" She stared at the pickled fish on the table and suddenly laughed. In fact, I knew that Song Chen didn't like me that much, but I just wanted to take a gamble. "Do you think if I had listened to you at the beginning, Would this not have happened? She looked up at me, tears in her eyes, but they were quickly replaced by resentment. I looked at her quietly, thinking of how she looked when she poisoned me in my previous life. At this time, the waiter brought two drinks. Fang Qian pushed one to me, undrubbed her fingertips on the rim of the cup. I'm sorry, I was wrong back then. I didn't answer it, but took out the recorder from my bag and pressed the play button. It contained the content of her phone call with her mother yesterday. Mom, I checked. The cyanide took effect very quickly. She didn't have time to call the police. Fang Qian's face turned pale instantly, and she stood up suddenly and knocked over the chair. I held her wrist and whispered, Fang Qian, some mistakes can be reversed, and some mistakes must be paid for. You think you can catch the rich family with your children, but in fact you are just being used as a pawn. Now you still have a chance to start over, but if you continue to be stubborn, I let go of her hand and watched her stumble back and finally rushed out of the restaurant with her face covered. On the first day of school in September, I received a notice from the police that Feng Qian was detained on suspicion of attempted murder. I looked at the freshman on campus and suddenly remembered what she said in the playground. In my senior year of high school, Shishi, I will make a lot of money in the future so that everyone will look up to me. Unfortunately, she never understood that true dignity is never obtained by climbing up, but earned step by step. Now I'm studying hand-painted design in a new university. Occasionally, when I pass by a jewelry store, I will think of the pigeon egg diamond ring in Fengqian's circle of friends. But compared to those fragile jewels, I cherish the future that I can draw with my own hands. Now more after all, some roads are better to walk slowly but steadily than to fall to pieces.